Hello, my name is John Rose, and in this introductory video I'm going to give a quick overview of Rose's 12 stories, and we'll take a much closer look at Rose's story number 2. Rose's story number 1 is the definitive answer to 3 of the most important questions that we face as a species. Rose's story number 2 is a very special teaching tool that I created to not only help me answer these 3 questions, but also to show everyone, or show all of us, where we are, where we came from, and how we got here, and how to get back to where we need to be, as well as show everyone where all the pieces logically connect to all the other pieces. Rose's story number 3 is a 3-step process that I perfected so that each and every one of us can play our individual role when it comes to solving every problem that is 100% within our control. Rose's stories number 4, 5, and 6 have to do with the 3 steps. Story number 4 has to do with 3 ways to correct 5 mistakes, and we want to use the only one of those 3 ways that's doable by enough of us so we reach a tipping point. Because if we don't reach the tipping point, we'll never see things change. Rose's story number 5 has to do with 5 main mistakes we're making relative to 5 things we mastered. The first step addresses the willingness issue, so we correct these 5 main mistakes on a temporary basis. The second step corrects these 5 main mistakes on a permanent basis, and then once we add these 5 main mistakes onto our list of mistakes to correct, then we'll take the third step, which is the only thing we have to do, and that's where we're going to satisfy 2 groups of needs. And I call that the science and the art of solving problems that are 100% within our control. And then the degree to which we satisfy these 2 groups of needs will be reflected in Rose's story number 7, a very important piece of the puzzle. This is the condition of all 4 of our current status factors. And the problem we have is we're sick and we're disconnected. And we prey upon ourselves. There's a ripple effect where now we become our own worst enemy. And now everything evolves around us being sick. So, and that evolves around our belief system. That brings us to Rose's story number 8, where we have 21 main problems of knowledge. Rose's story number 9 are the 2 doorways we have to go through to find and apply that knowledge. And that will be reflected in my special teaching tool, and I'll show you where all that fits in just a few seconds. But if we take these 3 steps, then we'll have a brand new reference, and that's story number 10, perhaps the most important piece of the puzzle. Story number 7 is important because we're sick, but we gotta get healthy, and we're going to change the condition of our body. When we have a brand new reference, then we'll be able to get rid of Rose's story number 11, and that's where we also get rid of piece 8.1. That's where we use the wrong approach and expect systems to solve problems that only we can solve. So Rose's story number 12 is where we come to the realization that we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the heroes by definition, because a hero is a person who can solve a problem that no one else can solve. Well, most of our problems are self-inflicted. That means that we are the heroes. Now let's take a closer look at my special teaching tool, but first let me do a quick recap of Rose's 12 stories. At the top, I have the definitive answer to 3 questions. The number 2 would be my special teaching tool. 3 would be my 3-step process, where Rose's stories 4, 5, and 6 would be those first 3 steps. First step would be story number 4, 1 of 3 ways to correct 5 mistakes. In fact, it's only 1 of 3 ways that enough of us are willing to do to get everyone's attention, so that addresses the willingness issue. The second step corrects these 5 main mistakes on a permanent basis. That's the second step. That's the raw vegan diet. That's where, and those 5 mistakes are based on 5 things we mastered and then applied to our food. Then that leads to the third step. That's Rose's story number 6. That's the only thing we have to do, really. That's where we have to satisfy 2 groups of needs that are based on the law of cause and effect and the ripple effect. We have 12 essential needs and 2 additional temporary needs. And the quality of how well we satisfy those needs will determine the condition of our 4 current status factors. Story number 7. And the big problem here is we're sick and disconnected. The key word here, disconnected. It's in bold. We're disconnected. That's our problem. We lost one of our senses. Now we have all these problems, and we have 21 main problems of knowledge that are keeping us from finding and solving our problems. That's story number 8. And those 21 main problems of knowledge are in two main doorways. That's story number 9. 40 in the first doorway and 13 in the second doorway. That's 53 problems of knowledge. 21 main problems of knowledge, 55 total main problems of knowledge. 53 of those are in two portals. The other two are in the first stage of knowledge, in the plus A box of knowledge and the negative A box of false knowledge, which I'll show in a moment. Now, when we go through those two doorways, what we'll have is a brand new reference. That's what we need so that we can challenge all of our old references, because we got too much bullshit bombarded in our brains to make us think a certain way. Once we have this brand new reference, then we'll know that all these systems aren't the solution. They're just a distraction, and that we are the solution because we've gotten reconnected and we got rid of our problems. So those are the most important stories right there. Is story number 7, we're sick and disconnected. Story number 12, we got to get reconnected. Number 11, everything else is a distraction, and we'll never figure that out unless we have a brand new reference, which means it's time to test an idea's time has come. So now, to understand how that fits with my ultimate schematic, my special teaching tool, here it is right here, the ultimate schematic, and we have 6 boxes, 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom. And here's piece number 1 with circle the dotted line. Piece number 2, that's false knowledge. That's the 2 of the problems of knowledge we have right there. And there's the other 19 obstacles, 19 reasons why we don't know. We don't know. Those are main problems of knowledge. But then there's pieces within pieces. So there's actually 40 problems of knowledge in this first doorway and 13 in the second. So that's what we have to do. Go through these 2 doorways, have the experience of the consequences, and then we can satisfy all of our needs and solve every problem that is 100% within control. So, how did we get in trouble? Well, it's when we took piece number 36, the first thing we mastered, we applied it to 24, our food. We slid down 109 and got 95. 95 is the fall of mankind. I keep having discussions with people and they don't understand that this is in the action box. The tree of knowledge of good and evil is not in an action box. You can't eat from the tree of knowledge. Now, we don't know for sure why we applied fire to our food on a consistent basis all of a sudden. And maybe the tree of knowledge of good and evil is there. Maybe that's where we have free will is there. Okay, well, it might explain that, but that's not what we need. In order to correct the fall of mankind, we need to know what it is. What did we do? Not why did we do it or how did we do it. Those are questions we need to find out later. What we need to know now is what was it? It was the fire to the food connection. That's what got the 95. That's cooked food, but that's the fall of mankind. Nothing else is in the action box. Period. Now you might say, "Oh, I can awaken my Kundalini and have this. I can open up my chakras too soon and focus on my gonads instead of my pineal gland." But that's a distraction. Everything's a distraction. Let's get reconnected. So go down below in the description box below and check out the first step of my 3-step process. That's a solid food vacation. When you do this, my friends, I guarantee you're in for a treat.